Hi everyone, it's Father Rodney, and today we'll be discussing Genesis chapter 18, verse 15, and this is where Sarah denies laughing at God's promise to her. And so to understand this first, maybe we should look at a few questions. Why did Sarah deny it? Why did she laugh? And what was God's response to Sarah's infidelity? And so to kind of a little background, both Sarah and Abraham are older people. And so in their understanding, they are not going to have children because of their old age, especially Sarah. She surpassed the childbearing age. And so she doesn't understand how God is going to work in and through that. To her, God can't work because of her age. And so she limits God's power to her humanly understanding. And so when God says you're going to have a child, she laughs at that because she's so old. But we also see this isn't the first time Sarah has doubted in God's promises to her. And so if you go back a few chapters earlier, we'll see that when God promised Sarah and Abraham they will have a child, and they don't, then Sarah says to Abraham, "Go and take my servant Hagar, and from her we will have a child, and that will be where God's promises are fulfilled." And so Sarah lacks trust in that moment, and in this moment she lacks trust too, because she can't fathom how God is going to work in and through her. And so the Bible describes her as laughing and denying the laughter because she was afraid. Now, if you think about it, why was she afraid of God? Well, here's the God of the universe, right? The God who created everything, who's now in front of you saying you are going to have a child, and you laugh at him. And so I'm sure there was some fearfulness in not understanding how God was going to work in her. But God's response is a very interesting one. He doesn't strip Sarah of her promise, right? That God is still faithful, and even though she was. And if we go to St. Paul's letter to Timothy, we see that God is always faithful in everything that he does. And so God is still faithful in this moment, and he promises her that she will still have a child, and he will fulfill that promise eventually, even though Sarah denied it. And I think that's something interesting that we have to look within our own lives, that we have our moments where sometimes we can think God can't work within our humanly understanding, but God can and still does work. But we just have to put our trust and put our faith in him, that he can work outside of our own expectations. So it's a good thing for you to think about, for us to think about in our lives. Where is God working, and what are the things that we have to place our trust in him, so that we can allow him to always work in and through our lives. God bless you.